Lisa thought she was just being nice when she offered to let her new coworker stay at her place for the weekend. Maya had just moved to town 3 weeks ago and seemed really lonely. She worked at the same advertising company as Lisa, always sitting alone during lunch breaks and never joining the office conversations. Lisa felt bad for her and figured a sleepover might help Maya feel more welcome. When Maya arrived on Friday evening, she carried just a small black bag with her. Lisa found this strange since most people bring a bigger suitcase for a weekend stay. Maya thanked Lisa several times, almost like she wasn't used to people being kind to her. Her voice had a weird way of sounding too formal, like she was reading from a script. The first odd thing happened during dinner. Lisa had made spaghetti and meatballs, thinking it would be a nice comfort food to share. But Maya just stared at the plate for a long time before picking up a single strand of pasta. And examining it closely, she asked what temperature the food had been cooked at and seemed genuinely confused when Lisa said she just cooked it normally. Maya ate very slowly, chewing each bite way longer than necessary. She kept making small humming sounds while eating, like she was analyzing the taste. When Lisa asked if everything was okay, Maya nodded but said the food felt different in her mouth. Lisa brushed it off, thinking maybe Maya was just picky about food. After dinner, they sat on the couch to watch a movie. Lisa put on a romantic comedy, but Maya seemed more interested in the commercials than the actual movie. She would lean forward whenever an advertisement came on, watching with intense focus. During one car commercial, Maya asked why humans needed metal boxes to move around. Lisa laughed, thinking Maya was joking, but Maya's face remained completely serious. The night got weirder when Lisa showed Maya to the guest room. Maya stood in the doorway for several minutes, not moving. She kept looking around the room like she was memorizing every detail. When Lisa asked if something was wrong, Maya said she was just recording the space. Lisa thought that was a strange way to put it, but didn't want to make Maya feel unwelcome. Around midnight, Lisa got up to get a glass of water. As she walked past the guest room, she noticed the door was open and the bed was empty. Her heart started beating faster as she wondered where Maya could be. She checked the bathroom and living room but found nothing. Then she looked out the kitchen window and froze. Maya was standing in the backyard, perfectly still like a statue. She was wearing the same clothes from earlier and facing the sky with her arms hanging straight down at her sides. Lisa watched for several minutes, but Maya didn't move at all. Not even her hair moved in the night breeze. It was like watching a mannequin someone had placed in the yard. Lisa grabbed a flashlight and quietly opened the back door. She called out softly, not wanting to wake the neighbors. Maya turned around slowly, and her eyes seemed to catch the light in a strange way, almost like a cat's eyes in the dark. When Lisa asked what she was doing, Maya said she was checking for signals and needed to make sure they knew where she was. Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. She asked Maya who they were, but Maya just smiled and said it wasn't important. She walked back toward the house like nothing unusual had happened. Lisa followed her inside, her mind racing with questions. Maya thanked her again for the hospitality and went back to the guest room. Closing the door behind her, Lisa lay in bed that night, unable to sleep. She kept thinking about Maya's behavior and the way she spoke. Everything about her new coworker seemed slightly off, like she was trying very hard to act normal but didn't quite know how. The way she examined her food, her interest in commercials, and especially that strange scene in the backyard all felt wrong somehow. She tried to convince herself that maybe Maya was just eccentric. Some people were naturally odd, and Lisa didn't want to judge her too harshly. Maybe Maya had grown up in a very different environment or had some kind of social anxiety that made her act strangely. But deep down, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously wrong with this whole situation. The next morning, Lisa woke up early and found Maya already awake, sitting at the kitchen table. She was staring out the window again, completely motionless. When Lisa said good morning, Maya turned to her with that same too formal smile and asked if Lisa had received any transmissions during the night. Lisa laughed nervously and said no. But Maya's question left her feeling even more unsettled. As Lisa made breakfast, she couldn't help but watch Maya carefully. Every movement, every word, every expression seemed calculated and unnatural. It was like Maya was playing a role in a play but hadn't quite memorized her lines yet. Lisa began to wonder if agreeing to this sleepover had been a terrible mistake. Saturday morning started with another weird incident. Lisa had prepared scrambled eggs and toast for breakfast, but Maya just stared at the cooked food like it was something dangerous. She politely asked if Lisa had any raw vegetables or fruits. Instead, when Lisa offered her a banana, Maya ate it with the peel still on, claiming it tasted better that way. Lisa watched in amazement as Maya crunched through the entire thing, including the tough outer skin. Maya explained that cooked food made her feel disconnected from natural energy sources. She said heating food destroyed important nutrients that her body needed to function properly. Lisa had never heard anyone talk about food in such a scientific way before. Maya spoke about nutrition like she was reading from a medical textbook, using words that seemed to advance for casual conversation. After breakfast, Lisa decided to take Maya shopping at the local mall. She thought it might help Maya feel more comfortable in their small town. But the shopping trip turned into one of the strangest experiences of Lisa's life. Maya walked through the stores like she was visiting a museum, examining everything with intense curiosity. In the clothing store, Maya touched every fabric and asked detailed questions about how each material was made. She seemed particularly fascinated by synthetic materials, running her fingers over polyester and nylon shirts for several minutes each. When Lisa tried to show her some cute outfits, Maya ignored the style completely and only cared about the composition of the materials. The electronics store was even weirder. Maya walked straight to the radio section and stood there for 20 minutes, just listening. She could tell Lisa exactly which stations were playing what songs without looking at any displays. When Lisa asked how she knew, Maya said she could hear the frequencies and that all electronic devices spoke to her in their own language. Then Maya did something that made Lisa's blood run cold. She predicted exactly when Lisa's phone would ring, down to the second. She even knew it would be Lisa's mom calling before Lisa answered. When Lisa asked how she possibly could have known that, Maya just smiled and said some people were more sensitive to electronic patterns than others. During lunch at the food court, Maya's behavior became even more concerning. She refused to eat anything that had been heated or processed. Instead, she went to the grocery store next door and bought raw carrots, which she ate whole without peeling them. Other shoppers stared as Maya crunched through the carrots like they were potato chips. Maya also demonstrated an uncanny ability to predict things before they happened. She warned Lisa that it would start raining exactly 17 minutes before the first drops fell. She knew when the mall's fire alarm would go off for a routine test, and she could tell when strangers were about to walk around corners before they appeared. Lisa started paying closer attention to Maya's physical appearance. Too, in certain lighting, Maya's skin seemed to have a subtle shimmer, almost like she was wearing some kind of makeup with tiny sparkles in it. But when Lisa looked directly at her, everything appeared normal. It was only in her peripheral vision that Lisa noticed the strange glow. Maya's eyes were another mystery. Most of the time they looked brown, but occasionally they would flash a bright silver color, especially when she was concentrating on something. Lisa thought maybe it was just a trick of the light, but it happened too often to be coincidental. The most disturbing incident happened when they returned to Lisa's house. Lisa's cat, Whiskers, had always been friendly to everyone. He would run up to visitors and demand attention, purring loudly and rubbing against their legs. But when Maya walked through the door, Whiskers took one look at her and ran away hissing. The cat hid under Lisa's bed and wouldn't come out, even when Lisa called his name and shook his favorite treats. This was completely unlike Whiskers' normal behavior. Lisa had never seen him react so negatively to any person before. Animals were supposed to be good judges of character, and Whiskers' reaction made Lisa feel genuinely worried. Maya noticed the cat's behavior and made an odd comment about how some Earth creatures were more sensitive to energy differences than others. She said it was natural for certain animals to react strongly to people who were different. Lisa asked what she meant by different, but Maya just changed the subject as the day went on. Maya's explanations for her strange behavior became more and more unusual. She talked about energy frequencies and dimensional awareness like these were normal topics of conversation. She mentioned that most people couldn't sense these things because they weren't attuned to higher vibrations. Lisa tried to rationalize everything she was seeing and hearing. Maybe Maya had grown up in some kind of alternative lifestyle community where people believed in New Age theories. Maybe she had been raised by parents who taught her unusual ideas about energy and frequencies, but even trying to be understanding, Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that something was fundamentally wrong with this situation. By Saturday evening, Lisa was exhausted from trying to make sense of Maya's behavior. Every conversation felt like walking through a minefield, never knowing what strange response she would get. Lisa began to wonder if Maya might have some kind of mental health condition that made her perceive reality differently than other people. But deep down, Lisa suspected that the truth was something much more disturbing than mental illness. Maya's abilities seemed real and too consistent to be delusions. The way she could predict things and sense electronic frequencies suggested something beyond normal human capabilities. Lisa went to bed that night with a growing sense of dread about what she might discover next. Sunday morning brought the most shocking discovery of Lisa's life. She woke up around 6 in the morning and decided to make some coffee before Maya got up. As she walked past the guest room, she noticed the door was slightly open and the room was completely silent. Curiosity got the better of her, and she peeked inside to check if Maya was still sleeping. The bed was empty and perfectly made, like no one had slept in it at all. Lisa felt a wave of panic wash over her. Where could Maya have gone so early in the morning? She quickly checked the living room and kitchen, but found no trace of her house guest. Then she heard a faint humming sound coming from the bathroom. Lisa approached the bathroom door, which was closed but not locked. The humming sound was unlike anything she had ever heard before. It wasn't like someone singing or even making music. It sounded more like electronic beeping mixed with musical tones, creating a pattern that seemed almost mathematical in its precision. She knocked softly on the door and called Maya's name, but got no response. The strange humming continued, getting slightly louder. Lisa's heart started racing as she realized something was seriously wrong. She tried the door handle and found it unlocked. What she saw when she opened that door changed everything she thought she knew about reality. Maya was standing in front of the bathroom mirror, but she wasn't alone. She was holding a small device that looked like nothing Lisa had ever seen before. It was about the size of a smartphone, but seemed to be made of some kind of crystal or glass that glowed from within. The device was projecting symbols and patterns into the air above it, creating a holographic display that moved and shifted like a living thing. Maya was speaking to the device in a language that didn't sound like any human language Lisa knew. The words had too many clicking sounds and strange tones that human vocal cords shouldn't be able to make. Maya's voice sounded completely different from how she had spoken all weekend. It was deeper and had an odd echoing quality, like she was speaking from inside a cave. But the most shocking thing was Maya's reflection in the mirror. Lisa rubbed her eyes and looked again, thinking she must be seeing things. Maya's reflection showed a completely different face. Instead of the familiar features Lisa knew from work, the reflection showed someone with much larger eyes that seemed to glow with their own light. The face was longer and thinner, with skin that had a pale, almost translucent quality. Lisa gasped and stepped backward, accidentally bumping into the door frame. The sound made Maya spin around quickly, and for just a moment, Lisa saw Maya's real face instead of the human disguise she had been wearing. The large, luminous eyes stared directly at Lisa, with an intelligence that seemed far older and more advanced than anything human. Then, like watching a movie special effect, Maya's face shifted back to its normal appearance. The strange device disappeared into her pocket so quickly that Lisa almost wondered if she had imagined it, but the holographic symbols took a few seconds longer to fade away, leaving Lisa with undeniable proof that what she had witnessed was real. Maya stood there for a long moment, staring at Lisa with an expression that seemed to be calculating something. Lisa felt frozen in place, unable to move or speak. Her mind was trying to process what she had just seen, but it was too incredible to believe. Yet she couldn't deny the evidence of her own eyes. Finally, Maya spoke in her normal voice, but her words were anything but normal. She said she hadn't expected Lisa to wake up so early and that she had been careless. She apologized for Lisa having to see something that was meant to remain hidden, but instead of trying to deny what had happened, Maya did something that surprised Lisa even more. She told Lisa the truth. Maya explained that she was not from Earth. She said she was part of a group that had been living among humans for many years, studying their behavior and culture. She spoke calmly and clearly, like she was giving a presentation at work rather than revealing the most incredible secret imaginable. Maya said that her real name wasn't Maya at all, but something that human tongues couldn't pronounce correctly. She had been assigned to this town 3 months ago to observe and learn about human social structures. Taking a job at the advertising company had been part of her mission to understand how humans work together and communicated. Lisa's legs felt weak, and she sat down on the edge of the bathtub, trying to absorb what she was hearing. Maya continued explaining that her people had been watching Earth for a very long time, but they had never made direct contact with human governments or leaders. Instead, they sent individuals like herself to live among humans and report back about what they learned. The device Lisa had seen was a communication tool that allowed Maya to send reports back to her people. She had been using it every morning to transmit information about her observations of human behavior. Maya said she had been particularly interested in studying human emotions and relationships, which was why she had accepted Lisa's invitation for the sleepover. Lisa asked the obvious question that was burning in her mind. What did Maya and her people want with Earth? Maya's answer was both reassuring and terrifying at the same time. She said her people meant no harm to humans, but they were concerned about Earth's future and wanted to understand whether humans could be trusted with advanced technology and knowledge. Maya explained that her people had been debating for decades about whether to reveal themselves to humanity. Some believed humans were ready for contact, while others thought humans were too violent and unpredictable. Maya's mission was to gather information that would help her people make this crucial decision. As Lisa sat there listening to this impossible conversation, she realized that her entire understanding of the universe had just been turned upside down. She was talking to someone from another world, someone who had been living a completely false life right under everyone's noses. The implications were staggering, and Lisa felt overwhelmed by the enormity of what she had discovered. Lisa sat on the bathroom floor, her mind spinning with everything Maya had just revealed. She kept waiting to wake up from what had to be the most vivid dream of her life. But the cold tile beneath her and Maya's calm presence made it impossible to deny that this was really happening. After several minutes of silence, Lisa finally found her voice and asked the question that scared her most. What happens to me now that I know? Lisa whispered, afraid of the answer. Maya's expression softened, and she sat down on the floor across from Lisa. She explained that this situation had never happened before. In all her years of observation, no human had ever accidentally discovered her true identity. Maya said she had been trained for many different scenarios, but this wasn't one of them. Maya pulled out her communication device again, but this time she showed Lisa how it worked. The crystal-like surface responded to her touch, creating those floating symbols that moved and shifted in the air. She explained that she needed to contact her supervisors immediately to report what had happened and asked for instructions. Lisa watched in amazement as Maya spoke into the device in that strange, musical language. The conversation lasted about 10 minutes, with Maya occasionally glancing at Lisa while she talked. Lisa couldn't understand the words, but she could hear the tone change from worried to surprised to something that sounded almost excited. When Maya finished the communication, she looked at Lisa with an expression that seemed almost nervous. Maya said her supervisors had been very interested to learn about Lisa's discovery. They wanted to know everything about Lisa's personality, her job, her family, and her life in general. Maya had spent the last few minutes basically giving them Lisa's entire biography. Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. She asked Maya if she was in danger, if they were going to do something to her to keep their secret safe. Maya quickly assured her that her people didn't believe in harming humans. They had strict rules about non-interference and peaceful observation. But Maya said the situation was complicated, because Lisa now knew something that could change everything. Maya explained that her people had been having intense debates about whether to make contact with humanity. Some believed humans were ready to learn about life beyond Earth, while others thought humans were too primitive and violent. Maya's mission had been to gather information that would help settle this debate once and for all. But now, with Lisa's accidental discovery, Maya's supervisors had made a surprising decision. They wanted to try something that had never been attempted before. They wanted to use Lisa as a test case, to see how a typical human would react to learning the truth about their existence. Maya said her supervisors had been impressed by Lisa's reaction so far. Instead of screaming or running away, Lisa had listened calmly and asked intelligent questions. They saw this as a positive sign that some humans might be ready for contact. But they wanted to take things one step further. This was when Maya made the request that left Lisa completely speechless. Maya asked if Lisa would be willing to become a voluntary ambassador between her people and humanity. She explained that they needed someone who could help them understand human culture better and eventually help prepare humanity for formal contact. Lisa would be the first human to knowingly work with their species, serving as a bridge between two different worlds. Lisa stared at Maya in disbelief. She had trouble processing what she was hearing. Maya was asking her to become some kind of alien diplomat, to be the first human in history to officially work with visitors from another planet. The request was so enormous that Lisa couldn't even begin to understand what it would mean. Maya continued explaining what this role would involve. Lisa would need to undergo special training to learn how to communicate with Maya's people directly. She would be given access to advanced technology and knowledge that no human had ever possessed. Lisa would help Maya's people understand human emotions, relationships, and social structures in ways that outside observation couldn't provide. In return, Lisa would gain access to information about the universe that would revolutionize human understanding of science and technology. Maya said her people had solutions to many of Earth's problems, including clean energy, disease treatment, and environmental restoration. Lisa could help bring this knowledge to humanity, but only when the time was right. But Maya also explained the serious responsibilities that would come with this role. Lisa would need to keep everything absolutely secret until her people decided humanity was ready for contact. She would essentially be living two lives, her normal human life, and her secret role as an ambassador to an alien species. Maya said Lisa would need to relocate to a different city. Where Maya's people had a hidden facility, Lisa would keep her normal job and daily routine. But she would also spend time learning about Maya's civilization and helping them prepare for eventual contact with human governments. The most difficult part was that Lisa couldn't tell anyone about any of this. Not her family, not her friends, not anyone. She would have to carry this incredible secret alone until the day came when her people decided to reveal themselves to the world. Lisa's mind raced with the implications of what Maya was proposing. She would be giving up her normal life to become part of something that sounded like science fiction, but she would also be helping to shape the future of human civilization and potentially solve many of the world's biggest problems. Maya said she understood that this was an enormous decision, and that Lisa would need time to think about it. She explained that Lisa had 1 week to decide whether she wanted to accept this role or not. If Lisa said no, Maya's people would respect her decision and find a way to help Lisa forget everything that had happened this weekend. But if Lisa said yes, her life would never be the same again. She would become the first human to knowingly work with an alien species, carrying the hopes and fears of two different worlds on her shoulders. Maya said it was the most important decision that any human had ever been asked to make. Lisa looked at Maya, trying to process everything she had just heard. Her quiet weekend sleepover had turned into a moment that could change the course of human history. And somehow, the decision was entirely up to her. Lisa spent the rest of Sunday in a daze, trying to act normal while her mind processed the most incredible offer in human history. Maya behaved as if nothing unusual had happened, helping Lisa make lunch and chatting about work like any ordinary house guest. But Lisa could barely focus on simple conversations every time she looked at Maya. She saw not her coworker, but an alien being who had just asked her to change the course of human civilization. Maya prepared to leave that afternoon, packing her small black bag with the same efficiency she had shown all weekend. Before leaving, she gave Lisa a small device that looked like a smooth stone but felt warm to the touch. Maya explained that this was a communication device that would allow Lisa to contact her when she had made her decision. Just hold it in your hand and think about wanting to talk to me, Maya said simply. I'll know immediately and can respond within minutes. Lisa stared at the device, realizing she was holding technology that was probably thousands of years ahead of anything humans had created. Maya noticed her amazement and smiled sadly. This is just the beginning of what you could learn about. Maya said, our people have knowledge that could solve hunger, disease, and environmental problems on Earth, but it has to be shared carefully with people who can handle the responsibility. As Maya walked toward the door, she turned back one more time. Lisa, I want you to know that choosing you wasn't random. I've been watching humans for 3 years, and I've never met anyone with your combination of kindness, intelligence, and open-mindedness. My people believe you might be exactly what both our species need. After Maya left, Lisa sat alone in her living room, holding the communication device and trying to make sense of her situation. She had 7 days to make a decision that would affect not just her life, but potentially the future of every person on Earth. The weight of that responsibility felt crushing. Lisa spent the next few days going through the motions of her normal life while her mind raced with possibilities. At work, she watched Maya interact with their colleagues, amazed that no one else could see what she now knew. Maya continued to be the quiet, slightly odd new employee that everyone assumed she was. But Lisa now understood that every interaction was part of Maya's mission to study human behavior. Lisa found herself studying her coworkers and friends with new eyes. How would they react if they knew the truth about Maya? Would they be terrified, excited, or simply refuse to believe it? Lisa realized that Maya's people were probably right to be cautious about revealing themselves. Many humans would likely panic or react with fear and hostility. But Lisa also thought about all the problems that Maya's people might be able to help solve. She watched the news each night, seeing stories about climate change, poverty, and disease, knowing that somewhere in the universe, there were beings who might have solutions to all of these challenges. The thought of keeping that help away from humanity felt almost selfish. Lisa tried to imagine what her life would look like if she accepted Maya's offer. She would have to leave her hometown, her friends, and her familiar life behind. She would be moving to a place where she would be surrounded by beings from another world, learning things that no human had ever learned before. It was both the most terrifying and most exciting possibility she could imagine. The hardest part was not being able to talk to anyone about her decision. Lisa had always turned to her family and friends for advice on important choices, but this was something she had to decide completely alone. She couldn't even hint at what she was really thinking about without sounding crazy. By Thursday, Lisa had made lists of pros and cons, but the decision still seemed impossible. On one hand, she would be giving up everything familiar and safe. In her life, she would be taking an enormous risk, trusting beings she barely understood with her future. On the other hand, she would be part of something historically significant and potentially help improve life for everyone on Earth. Lisa realized that her biggest fear wasn't really about the aliens or the technology or even the secrecy. Her biggest fear was regret. If she said no, would she spend the rest of her life wondering what she had missed? Would she watch the world struggle with problems that she could have helped solve? But if she said yes, would she lose herself in a world she didn't understand? Friday evening, Lisa sat in her backyard where she had first seen Maya staring at the stars. She looked up at the same sky, now knowing that somewhere out there, beings were waiting for her decision. The stars that had always seemed distant and cold now felt alive with possibility. Lisa pulled out the communication device and held it in her hands. She thought about Maya's words about kindness, intelligence, and open-mindedness. She thought about all the people who could benefit from advanced knowledge and technology. She thought about being the bridge between two worlds, helping them understand each other. Taking a deep breath, Lisa made her choice. She held the device tightly and focused on wanting to speak with Maya. Within minutes, she felt the device grow warm, and Maya's voice came through clearly. "I've made my decision," Lisa said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. Maya's response would change everything. Lisa was ready to step into a future that no human had ever imagined, carrying the hopes and dreams of two worlds. As she waited for Maya's reply, Lisa looked up at the stars one last time. As just an ordinary human being, tomorrow, her extraordinary new life would begin. The universe had just become much larger, and Lisa was ready to explore it.